What's up everyone, this is CyberKnight8610, and today we have some new rules that have been revealed for link summoning, and I guess really some clarification really with all the different changes that happen through Yu-Gi-Oh! So obviously with these new rules we're still trying to figure out how everything's going to work, and this kind of answers a few of those questions for us, and unfortunately though it seems like we still have a few more questions too, but hopefully this kind of helps out a lot of people that are wondering how the new rules are going to work and that have had a lot of questions with these new rules. So the first question we have is after you have summoned them properly, when you revive an extra deck monster with Monster Reborn, which zone do you put them in? And the answer they give us is that you special summon it in the main monster zone, not an extra monster zone. So basically, of course, with these new rules, we've learned that from the extra deck, all the monsters from the extra deck, whether it's a fusion, Xyz, Synchro, doesn't matter. Whenever it is special summoned, it goes into the extra monster zone. Well, now, of course, with that, we were wondering, well, let's say it gets destroyed. What happens? Well, then, as they're saying on this, as an example, you can revive it with Monster Reborn. If it was summoned properly in the first place and destroyed, you can revive it with Monster Reborn, and then it goes to the main monster zone. So you don't have to worry about, it going to your extra monster zone and crowding up that spot. So this is actually really interesting because it makes me wonder, would this same rule work with things like Cyframe Lord, Omega, or Zeta, or even Stardust Dragon, for an example? Because when you summon them, they can get rid of themselves or remove them from the field, or Stardust even, pretty much sacrifice itself, send it to the graveyard, and then it revives itself. So I would assume that with this rule, with what we're hearing here, that, like, for example, if you Stardust Dragon use its effect, it goes to the graveyard, then of course it comes back, it would go to the main monster zone, and that'd be the same for Omega and Zeta as well. So that's what I'm thinking on that. I guess we don't have 100% confirmation on how that part's going to work, but to me, if you're going to have this ruling for it, then that would make sense too. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of good. I'm glad though to hear that at least monsters that are like that, that if they've been summoned, the way they're supposed to be, they will be revived in the main monster zone. So that doesn't crowd up your extra monster zone, and that makes certain things a little bit easier too. But I would assume that Stardust and Omega and all them too would work kind of the same way. Different monsters that can revive themselves would also go to the main monster zone like that. So really interesting on that, and I feel like that kind of answers that question for us too, but hopefully we'll get even more clarification on that. Then after that we have the next question, which is if you target an opponent's monster in the extra monster zone with mind control, what happens? The answer is that it goes to your main monster zone. When the control returns to your opponent, it returns to their main monster zone as well. So again, you could use the example of Stardust Dragon, a monster that is from the extra deck. Of course, it would be in the extra monster zone, the new zone that we have now with the new rules. And basically, if your opponent uses mind control, it goes to their main monster zone. And then I guess when you regain control, it would go to your main monster zone. So again, it's just another way to make sure it doesn't crowd up the extra monster zones. And honestly, this makes sense too, because it would be a little bit too confusing if it always had to do with the extra monster zone, because cards that would give you control of your opponent's monster, like mind control, really wouldn't be useful anymore if you had something like that, because you already have a monster in your extra monster zone. You wouldn't have a spot for it. So this honestly makes a lot of sense, and this kind of makes it so, in my opinion, it makes it so you would think a little bit more on what monsters you're taking from your opponent, because if you're getting one of their monsters, then you're also giving back their extra monster zone for them to go for another monster from the extra deck. So it kind of seems like there's a little bit more strategy involved, in my opinion, on that. So kind of interesting. I'm kind of wondering, again, how a lot of this is going to work for us, but I'm glad that that makes sense. Honestly, that makes sense to me on how that's going to work. So that's kind of cool too. And then, of course, probably for the biggest question that we get on this, and that is, can you use tokens and trap monsters as materials for a link summoning? And the answer they give us is that if they meet the material requirements, you may use tokens and trap monsters as materials for link summoning. So yes, basically this means Gofu is, of course, way more powerful now. We have Scapegoats, which is, again, another card that's definitely going to come in handy. Just about anything that involves tokens now is going to definitely come in handy for you. And that also makes me wonder, would Paleozoic then work out pretty well? Because trap monsters, you could use those then for link summoning too. So it kind of sounds like Paleozoic could be very useful in this new format too. Could be something worth testing out. But yeah, anything now that involves tokens is definitely going to be helpful for you. So that means, like I said, Scapegoats, that I feel like that's almost going to be a staple now for us. I mean, right now, as we're, learning about these rules and everything, that sounds like that could possibly be a staple card for us. Same with Gofu. I mean, because you're instantly able to special summon it, you get 2 tokens from it, which could basically be a setup for a link summoning for you. I mean, that could, I guess, be an instant link summoning. So, yeah, what do you guys think about these new rules? Do you like them, not like them so much? Do they make sense to you? Honestly, pretty much all these rules make sense to me. I mean, I'm kind of surprised on the token thing, because we couldn't use tokens for C summoning, so I was kind of wondering, would that work? Would that not work for this? And since it is working, I could see this being really interesting. Like, I feel like pretty much a lot of these token cards that we've had for a long time are going to basically end up being staples for a lot of decks out there. Like I said, Scapegoats, I mean, is definitely, without a question, going to be a very useful card for this, and same with Gofu. I mean, those are the 2 main cards everyone are talking about, and obviously within good reasoning, because they're both going to be very useful for that. I mean, you're getting instant token monsters. Gofu, like I said, you're getting basically 3 monsters, Gofu himself, and then the 2 tokens. And then Scapegoats, you're getting 4 token monsters instantly on your side of the field. So that could be a link summoning right there just with 1 card. So again, very interesting to see something like that, and it's honestly something I didn't expect from link summonings. Let me know what you guys think on that. Are you excited, not so excited about this? Again, I would assume that this first question, this first ruling that we have here is basically going to work with things like Zeta and Stardust. To me, that makes sense, because since they remove themselves and come back, it sounds like they would go to the extra monster zone too. Again, I guess we don't have 100% confirmation on this, but with that, I mean, common sense tells me that that would happen. So again, let me know what you guys think on these rules. Do you like them, not like them so much? It sounds like tokens are going to basically be meta, so that sounds pretty awesome to me. So I'm interested to see, again, what we're going to see from this new format. I gotta say, even though I haven't been the biggest fan on a lot of these new rules, I'm really excited to see what's going to be popular after all these rules too. So I'm looking forward to just seeing what's going to happen and what the top decks could be after, with link summoning, these new rules and everything. It's going to be pretty interesting. I'm kind of glad to see sort of a big shakeup for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because now we're seeing things like Scapegoats being very useful. It's just kind of weird to see something like that. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what these new rules are going to do for Yu-Gi-Oh! And of course, too, for people that may be wondering, I'll have all this info in the description if you want to read through this for yourself. And also be sure to check out my video where I talk about link summoning. If you're totally lost in this video because you need to learn about link summoning before it comes to us, which I guess is now going to be in July, is when we're actually getting link summoning in TCG. So definitely learn about link summoning. Be sure to know, what cards you should be picking up before that happens, and just to know what kind of deck you probably should build. And like I said too, I feel like with these new rules and everything, there's going to be hopefully a lot more variety in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I feel like a lot of people are trying out a lot of things that they normally wouldn't. So I gotta say, I'm actually pretty excited to see what's going to happen on that. But yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, helps out a ton, and leave a comment. Again, tell me what you guys think about these different kind of clarifications and stuff, and subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh! News and other Yu-Gi-Oh! Related videos. And of course, I will catch you guys later. See ya.